I'm seeing like a little smile. Like you're thinking about, like, it looked like you enjoyed making it. Am I correct?
I mean, I had so much fun.
Adam, Tyrone,
hey,
such a pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
I realized when you said nice to meet you when we walked in, I was like, wait a minute, I actually never met you. And from my Much Music days, and like Much Music was such a huge supporter of
I remember, your
career. And I was like, you're right, I never did get it. I never did get the assignment. Everybody else got the Adam assignment. So anyways, pleasure to meet you finally.
Nice to meet you finally.
We're long overdue.
Yeah.
is ultimately what I'm saying. So congrats on consistency. Congrats on a long time coming.
Thank you.
And still killing it.
Thank you.
I think that in itself deserves, a little tip of the hat for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Nah, no doubt.
Hanging on.
Hanging on, man. We're still here, baby. Still here and still looking good.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so tell me, what's the overall vibe right now? Like, how are you feeling? New project coming out, what is that? How does that feel at this stage in your life?
For me, it's like I get excited with new things, new projects,
right.
like new adventures, and High Drama. This album was a challenge because it was like, okay, take songs people know and maybe a couple obscure ones, and figure out ways to totally like rework them and flip them. And that to me creatively was a really cool challenge.
Right.
And getting in the studio with some amazing producers and really getting involved in the process and there were certain songs where it's like I knew what I wanted to do right away before I walked in.
Yeah.
And there were other ones where it was like, let's just experiment. Let's
right.
bring in some musicians and jam, which was really cool. That felt very creative to me.
Well, and right away I wanted to ask you, was there discovery for you in this process? Because as you're answering the question, I'm seeing like a little smile. Like you're thinking about, like, it looked like you enjoyed making it. Am I correct?
I mean, I had so much fun.
That's awesome.
And I got to work, the first couple of sessions we did with this producer named Tommy English, who I worked on my last album with. So there was like, a shorthand there. We're really comfortable with each other. And it was very relaxed and very musical.
Right.
It just felt like, I mean, that's what you want. You want to.
Felt right?
Yeah, it felt right, and that's what you want to be in the studio, and you want to feel like any idea is a good idea, and you're just trying new things, and then it's like the best ideas will be the ones you keep.
Right,
Yeah.
for sure. Listen, it's a blessing to even be able to say that, because a lot of people are wanting to achieve that, hoping for that, pushing for that, forcing that, and it's just not happening.
Yeah,
so,
well.
And the reason why I'm even in that sort of train of thought is getting older. So I gotta talk to you about this song. Obviously, brand new video. I'm listening to the song. It sounds like you meet up with a friend, you catch up with a friend. You guys it's a friend that you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
But the friend that even though you haven't seen them in a while, it's all love.
You can pick up right where you left off.
Pick up right where you left off.
I have a lot of friendships
Fit
like
each
that.
other's sentences
Yep.
like you just did for me. And I'm listening to the lyrics to the song, and I'm like, this sounds like the friend who is getting his stuff together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's healing and feeling and all of the adult things.
Yeah.
Right?
Grown up stuff. Yeah.
The grown up stuff. So are you feeling like that enlightenment? Are you feeling that, that love and light that people have been wishing you?
Absolutely. I mean, I think with that song, it's so interesting because it perfectly describes what it feels like to grow up, no matter how old you actually are.
Yes.
So, Billie put this out, she was 19. It was very true for her. And I'm listening to the lyrics, and I'm like, yeah, same. And anybody that I think listens to it, no matter what age you're at,
right.
There's so much truth in it. And I thought that was really cool. And I thought, to record it sort of in a sort of laid back way, almost like a conversation,
right.
And I do feel that way. I feel like things, I feel more comfortable in my skin than I've ever felt. I feel like as a creative person and as a performer, I'm very clear on what I am, and I'm very clear on what I'm not, which takes a while sometimes.
Almost even more important, because sometimes you have to unlearn those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a challenge.
And I think, as you get a little older and more mature in this business, I found that I don't feel like I have to try as hard. I don't have as much to prove. I can just rest in what I know, and that creates an ease that I think is really nice in the studio.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like I've grown up a lot as a performer and as a recording artist.
For sure. I'm looking at the track list, and I'm saying to myself, just looking at these titles, it's almost like, I don't know, chapters in a book, or almost like it could tell its own story.
Yeah.
I know that you talked briefly about the creative process, but was there any sort of intention behind the songs that ended up making it?
I mean, it's a kind of a broad, array of songs, and the list was really long before we started narrowing it down. But, but it was, the criteria was like, okay, can the lyrics of each song represent something real in my life? Like, could I have lived that?
So you have to connect to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
like to make it authentic. And then also knowing that I really wanted to be able to really reinvent them. That was important. Some songs that I wanted to sing, I was like, I don't know what I would do with it.
Right.
Right. And actually, all the songs on the album are all by artists I greatly admire. They're artists that do their own thing, that are very individual. And the originals are flawless records. So
Yes.
it's not that I'm sitting there trying to one up anybody. It's more like, okay, well, how did that hit me? And how can I turn around and then do my take on it,
For sure. I mentioned my Much Music days and how much Canada loves you and still loves you. And then I think, wait, is there any Christina Aguilera songs? Because I know you're a big fan as well.
It came up in thought of doing a Christina song, but I think there's certain singers where their vocals are so complex and sort of the signature of the song that I was like, with Christina, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go there because she's such a vocalist.
Yeah.
These songs that I picked are songs that felt more open-ended to me as like a question. I don't know if that makes sense, but there was a clearer path on the ones that I chose.
Yeah, no, I definitely follow.
Yeah.
And the reason why I ask this is sort of like, I guess, like the group question, because like I said, this is for my team at home. We saw the tweets just at the top of 2020 where you said, well, funny enough, we almost went on tour.
That's right.
So
we did almost go on tour together.
The question is, this was my segue. the question is, can that happen? Will that happen? Is it even possible?
Well, the world before the pandemic was like another different world, and I think it just, that whole couple of years just threw everything sideways. So, she's off on doing her new project. I'm doing mine. I don't know. I mean, I was disappointed that we had to cancel it because that seemed really cool to me.
Yeah,
and I'm a big fan, and it felt full circle. I grew up listening to her, so that would have been cool to open for her. But life happens. The pandemic did a lot of things to a lot of people.
For sure.
Well,
one thing, going back into that sort of train of thought, this unavoidable hiatus, I like to call it. There were certain things for me, I couldn't wait to go to a concert.
Yeah.
When I was just thinking, like, what's the one thing I want to do? I'm like, do I want to go to a restaurant? Do I want to go to a sports game? I'm like, I want to go to a concert.
Yeah.
Because in a concert, you have those moments where it's dark and the music's going. You could just literally just lose it for a bit, and that sort of freedom I was missing. Are you excited to get on stage? Do you still love performing? Is it as exciting as it once was for you?
It's funny. It's like when I really realize it is when I haven't been on stage for a while.
Right.
And I start kind of feeling a little like some kind of way, and I feel like something's sort of missing.
Something.
And it's like over the years, I should know better. I should know that that's the thing that's missing. But over and over again, I'll be like, I don't know why I'm in a rut. I don't know. And then I get on stage, and all of a sudden I feel great. And I feel like recharged. There's something so important about what live entertainment can do to a group of people in a live setting, like the way people connect as like a unified experience.
Yeah, nothing.
And
like
that's the thing that you were probably missing during the pandemic, because we were all separated, and there's something really, it's a kind of like, it's alchemy, it's like it's magic what can happen to a group of people.
For sure. When you think about your work with Queen, is that something that you ever dreamed of? Like, did you ever think that would have ever come together the way it has?
I mean, when I went on American Idol and I decided to sing Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes, I remember very clearly.
I'm really glad I sang that song. I mean, Good choice,
good move.
Lambert. Yeah, because
You're a marketing genius.
I don't
You had
know
no
if
idea.
I probably wouldn't be here right now if it hadn't been for that. So I'm really like, I'm not necessarily like a superstitious person,
Right.
but there are moments in my life where I'm like, damn, the universe really steps in sometimes, and things line up in harmonious ways, and you got to pay attention to when it happens.
100%. When you think about your where your career started, different sort of, I guess, milestones, and then where we are now and what we're looking forward to and what we're celebrating with this new body of work, is there anything that you would tell your young self, or mostly for young artists that may happen to see this, what's like one bit of advice that you would give them to hang on? As you said, you've hung on, and that's why we're here.
I mean, I feel like patience is something that comes easier with age, I think. I think when I was young, I remember just feeling very like, when is it going to happen? When am I going to get my shot? Like very anxious for something to click.
Yeah.
And when I meet young people that are entertainers now, I get that same feeling from them, this like, why didn't it already happen? Why isn't it right here? And the idea of sort of paying your dues and sort of incubating your craft or your skill, it does make a difference. Things happen when they're supposed to happen, and you might think you're ready and you might not be ready yet.
Right.
So it's and it's hard to tell. It's like there's no one that's going to be able to have a crystal ball for you and be like, well, this is exactly how it's going to go down. But I do think that like making sure that you're patient and you're paying attention and you're allowing yourself the space to like develop. I think it's important. Like
that personal growth.
And artistic, yeah, both. Both personal, artistic, career stuff, all that stuff. Like, take your shot when you know you're ready to do it.
Right. Well, there's something I've been saying too for the last little bit. It was whereas the better I become as a man, as Tyrone, as an individual, the more work that I've done on myself, I found that it's directly impacted what I love to do for a living. Yeah. And being able to have just a high frequency conversation with some cameras around, but I realized that the more work that I do on myself, it started to unlock, growth in other areas. Would you say so? Is the same with artistry, as being a musician?
Well, I think when you go into like a creative project, it's like your state of mind has so much to do with what you're able to come up with, what ideas you have, the execution of those ideas, and I think over the past like 10 years, I've had definitely a very interesting journey with mental health.
Yes.
I'm the kind of person I think I have. I've learned over the years that I have certain anxieties. I didn't realize that that's what it was. I didn't really know what name to call it, what my state was, and over the past few years, I've kind of learned, that's anxiety. That's what that is, textbook anxiety. The more I read about it, and I did some therapy, and that realization and sort of the ability to kind of objectively look at it helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Because it made me realize what I could do to be better and what I could do to help myself out, and not beat myself up when I was feeling that way.
Right.
It's really helped me sort of quiet down or turn off that part of my brain that judges. There's that thing in your own head where you sabotage yourself. Yeah. That voice is a voice that I now understand what it is, and I can be like, yo, calm down.
Right. Right.
Which helps me a lot.
Yeah. I honestly, I really appreciate you saying that now, and all the things I've seen you advocate for when it comes to mental health, because it's so necessary. Yeah. And it's even the way you worded that. Like for me, I didn't even know what anxiety felt like.
Same.
Until the lockdown portion of the pandemic.
Right.
And then I'm like, wait, what the heck is that? Why does my chest feel like this? But luckily now people are talking about it even more so I was able to identify it, and then and the more we have these conversations, the better we're all for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's still taboo around,
of course,
and stigma around mental health. So I think talking about it is definitely the first step. Yeah. Once you realize that there are a lot of people that feel the same way or going through the same thing, that helps. It helps you feel like you're not alone in it,
and a little more normal.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's once you're like able to sort of be vulnerable and admit things that you're struggling with, I think it humanizes you and it connects you better to other people.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
And we realize how much we're the same.
100%.
Yeah.
And I bet you someone watching this right now is like, oh, I really appreciate that.
I hope
because
so.
The truth is that, like you said, beating yourself up. Well, if you realize, well, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
So are those people, and so are those people, and so are those people. There's less reason to beat yourself up.
Yeah.
And then you're quicker to use those tools, whatever tools that you have, whether it's a breathing technique or telling yourself, calm down,
Adam.
right? Whatever that tool is,
Yeah.
now you're reaching for that tool before you're beating up on yourself. Yeah.
And I think it's also really helpful when people in the public eye are able to talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it shows that like these types of feelings or condition that you're in, it's not necessarily something that equals failure or, a dead end. I mean, people are functioning with these issues. You know, you can still be successful and suffer from anxiety. You can still be happy and suffer from anxiety or depression. And that really helps, I think, as well. That it's not like, it's not something that's like a deal breaker.
Right.
know?
It's not definitive.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not definitive. You guys are
Yeah.
all right. We're good. We got this. Okay, so I have to talk to you about London. Here we are in this wonderful city.
I love it.
Absolutely love any excuse to come here. I'm learning more about Britain as well. What are some of the things that you love to do in London? And I also want to know if London or Britain, because it has such a rich music history, has influenced you at all.
I think that's the thing I would say the most is like the music that's come out of England is like, I mean, it's major. I mean, so, going back to like the classic rock era, I mean, obviously I sing with Queen, so that's homegrown British royalty.
Yeah.
But other bands from the 70s, like Led Zeppelin and the Beatles, and you like look at these major influential music acts that came out of the UK. And also solo artists that I love, George Michael, I mean, he was amazing. And there's a long list, I could go on and on, but I think the music that's come out of the UK continues to be like really impressive.
Oh, I absolutely.
And the acting work, like the film and TV that comes out of the UK. I love watching great actors and great stories being told, and the UK pumps out some really good actors. They're
literally on fire right now. There's a laundry list of new and established both film and genres of music, not even just one genre of music, like genres of music. I mean, I'm admitting I'm just kind of getting familiar with grime, and
it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing, and I'm like, wait a minute, what the heck? This is kind of a vibe, you know. But so many different influences, especially just London being where it is situated in the world. So
just so much culture. There's so much culture coming out of here.
Okay, so I'm here for like another couple days. What are give me some suggestions. What are some cool things I can do? Whether it's like food or something I need to see.
Like places to hang out. Like I like the Chiltern Firehouse for like a drink and some food.
Okay.
Things to see. The have you been on the London Eye? The big Ferris wheel thing?
Oh, the Ferris wheel? No.
It's cool.
I'm like, is that a clock? No.
It's cool. It's like you get in these little pods. They're like bubbles, and it's a good
I've
view.
seen that on Instagram. No, I've never been. I want to do that.
And the Shard. That's another cool. Like when you go up to the top, the view is like it's nuts. It's nuts up there.
I don't know. Actually,
Tower of London.
You see, I got a lot of things to do.
Tower
here.
of London's really interesting. A lot of history there. I'm kind of a history nerd. I get into all that. So if you walk around town, you actually see these blue plaques on a lot of the buildings, and they'll say like so and so lived here from this year to this year.
And it'll give you like a little brief.
Yeah, and we all have phones, so sometimes I'm like, oh, who's that, or what, I get into all
those.
that.
I love seeing those. Yeah. So then, have you had the opportunity to travel around the UK a bit? Like, have you been to like Liverpool or Bath or any other places?
Queen and I have done a handful of tours around the UK, so that's kind of taken me around. I've done some of my own solo touring. I've been to most of the cities. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And now I need food. So where am I going to get food? You said
food. Where's a good place for? I mean, I'm like really not the guy to ask for this stuff. The expensive places. My bougie ass.
Oh, no, I'm right there with you too, though.
You're like, you can't get into that one.
But don't say my name.
Do you know, actually, I found down by the Shard, actually, there's like a food market. Like there's like all sorts of places. And I found, when I was here over the summer, I found a taco place that was like legit. Like, you know, I'm from Southern California, so
Right. Yeah,
I'm
so
a bit
tacos are
spoiled.
for real for you.
But this place did it right. And they had great tequila and mezcal in there, and they had like legit tacos. I don't remember the name of it, but what is that area called where all the food? Borough Market. Yeah,
Okay,
there's some really good
Borough
food down
Market,
there. Yeah, that place
Follow
is cool.
my nose, find the tacos
Yeah.
and the mezcal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Didn't go as planned, but I really enjoyed our chat. We started off with a bit of nostalgia with much music. So I'm going to end off by saying, love your energy right now,
Oh,
and I
thanks.
think it's great to see you in this condition, in this mind space currently. And I have to ask you, when are you coming to Canada?
Right?
When are you coming to Canada?
I
You
don't
gotta come back
know.
home,
I
baby.
know. I love it up there. I actually like. Toronto's amazing, and I also have a really soft spot for Montreal. I really like that
I love
city.
Montreal, too.
It's really sexy.
It
There's
is,
something
it
about
is.
it.
The old port?
It's so pretty. Every time I'm there, it's been in the summer, luckily.
Yeah.
And I always do a bike ride. There's,
mad you said
there's that
luckily.
great bike path down like it goes all the way out to the water.
Oh, I don't know.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fell in love with Montreal in 2022.
Oh, nice.
All over again, yeah.
Nice.
Okay, cool. So come on home.
I know, I need
We'll
to
be
come over,
waiting.
yeah.
We'll find you all the tacos, whatever you need. All right? Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Good to
Pleasure
talk
to
to you.
finally meet you.
Yeah, likewise.
Like the video? Then hit the button, or better yet, drop us a comment. Then check out our latest videos here. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button here for more celebrity interviews and entertainment news.